Welcome back to Meet the Ministers. My guest on the program this evening is the Deputy Leader of the Opposition and the Member for Clayfield, Tim Nicholls. Tim, tell me about your interests outside family life and outside politics. You find time to listen to music, to go to the occasional concert, to maybe do some cooking?
Sure. Well, I don't get a lot of time outside of it, as you know, but I guess I've spoken about how I enjoy getting out on the boat and doing a bit of fishing, and so I listen to some music that goes along pretty well with that, and that's Jimmy Buffett. So, been a fan for a long time, and I was fortunate enough a little while ago to be able to go down to Sydney to watch the concert when he played 3 shows down there back in January. And,
you weren't at that show where he actually took the header off the stage to really wrap things
up?
We
were at that show, and I guess it was. Everyone was really worried when it happened, but we saw one of the bodyguards that goes and accompanies Jimmy Buffett on his programs, and he said that he'd seen him in the hospital and he felt like a complete goose for falling off the stage, and he was going to be coming back again. So that's the good news. He'll be back singing again. He's obviously found his Margaritaville and wants to show up again.
Well, yeah, it takes a lot to keep a good man down.
It does, very much so. So look, I enjoy music and going to those concerts when I can. Just a pretty eclectic mix of music, all the way through from classical through to what my kids force me to listen to in the car these days, and some of it I don't understand, which I think makes me sound like my father when I was about 13 and 14 that I can't believe I'm even saying it.
When you do get the rare opportunity to bundle the kids in the car and take them to school in the morning, is there a big fight over who's tuning the radio?
Well, yeah, I mean, I usually go for 612, but they go for one of the FM stations, and inevitably I lose because it's a little bit of time that they have with me. But we managed to get through the trip to school without too much aggravation.
Are you a musical family, an artistic family?
Look, I think we've always had an interest in it. My oldest boy is now learning the electric guitar, and
that's something to look forward to.
That's something to look forward to. The other one's doing piano, and my daughter Kate is learning the violin. So they're all at various stages, but they've actually shown a fair degree of application and keep going to the lessons and keep wanting to continue to learn, which is great. So I'm hopeful that they'll be great big music stars, and they'll keep me in the style to which I'd like to become accustomed.
We spoke earlier about a timeline. Do you actually have a point in the future where you think you might be finished with politics, and if so, is there something else that you aspire to become involved in?
Not at the moment. I mean, I think politics for me is where I can see still a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot I want to do as a politician, as an elected representative for the community and for Queensland. So I really see that future for quite a considerable period of time yet. And we've got an election to win at some stage over the next 12 months, and we've got a fair bit of work to do. So that's really what's taking up a fair bit of my time at the moment and my thinking. But obviously it'll come to an end at some stage. Just when that is at the moment, I'm not too sure. And I think when it does come to the end, I think that'll be the time for both my wife and my kids to see a little bit more of me.
Yeah. No, what's the best part about being involved in politics? I mean, it's a hard job. There's a lot of pressure on.
Yeah. Look, there's different rewards. When I was in the council, there was a lot of reward in being able to achieve things for people, and it was often the small things which annoyed people.
A very immediate process.
Very immediate process. So if something was, if there was something wrong, if a bin hadn't been collected, if a footpath needed fixing, those were things that you could get action on pretty quickly, and people were glad to be able to see representatives being able to achieve something for them. It's a slower process at the state level. It's much harder in opposition, obviously, but I think that the rewards that you get for getting some things through, or for being part of a team that manages to achieve an outcome, are still pretty great. And I enjoy still getting out into the community. I think that's a great feeling that I have, is getting out and making sure you're talking to people and staying in touch with what's going on and getting that feedback into the process, because after all, we're not doing it just to see a nice set of numbers in a balance sheet or to get a good report out of another bureaucracy. We're doing it to actually deliver outcomes for people, and that's what I'm really focused on.
Does being involved in politics change the way that your neighbours, your friends relate to you?
No, not really. I've been pretty lucky. Most of my friends and neighbours, and I guess that's why they're friends, are really supportive of it, and we keep a pretty even keel. It's a pretty tough school in the Nicholls household. It's, you're not allowed to get above your station by any stretch of the imagination, and perhaps that's part and parcel of why you get into politics. But there's no getting away with anything. Doesn't matter whether you're a politician or your dad, you're still brought back down to earth pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, but our friends and neighbours are pretty good, and we actually couldn't survive. We've got some great neighbours who bail us out with babysitting and getting things done a lot of the time. So, and our friends are really supportive of those things. But outside of politics, it's just a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and get on with it.
What do you look forward to doing?
I look forward I look forward to. There's a couple of things. I mean, obviously, putting my political hat back on. It's very hard in politics to divorce yourself. But I look forward to the next election. And I'd like to think that if we work hard and so on, we'll get the favour of the people of Queensland to form a government, and that's something to look forward to. And I think also. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen in Queensland over the next 15 or 20 years, because I think there's so much potential in the state. And just last Friday I was at QUT at one of the schools there looking at some of the science and innovation that's going on around biofuels and science and climate change and those sorts of things, real advances and things where Queensland is ideally placed. And we said earlier about how much Brisbane had changed in 20 years. Well, imagine what Queensland and Brisbane will be like in the next 20 years, and we're on the cusp of seeing some of these great changes coming through. So I think that's really exciting, not just for me, but for my kids and for the future of anyone in Queensland. It really opens us up to the world and really places us, I think, at the forefront of developed economies in terms of what we can achieve.
Is it possible to be friends, have a friendship with the folks on the other side of the house?
Look, it's tough. It's only a small parliament. It's only 89 people, and it's pretty closely packed. So when you're stuck there in parliament and in the heat of battle, there's no mistaking who's taking shots at you.
Yeah.
But I have pretty good relationships with most members there. I think the politics is for the parliament, and you don't need to take it beyond that in terms of really being personally abusive. And I think you get likes and dislikes and people who you get on well with and others who you don't want to bar of, just like normal life. And I think that happens there. So I like to think that I get on properly and pretty well with most members of the parliament.
Interesting in the light of day. It's a job. You have things to achieve, but you're still a father and a family man that goes home at the end of the evening.
Yeah. Oh well, you fit it in. I think your skin toughens up in this job. I think that's one thing that happens pretty quickly. A lot of people come up and say, "I don't know how you could possibly do this," with the intrusion and the media spotlight and those sorts of things. But like all jobs, you get used to it, and you become immune to the things that don't matter, and you still take notice of the things that do. So you harden your heart and get on with the job.
Tim Nicholls, thank you very much for your time.
That's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
My guest on the program this evening, the member for Clayfield, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Tim Nicholls. I'm Shaun Bindley, and I look forward to joining you again next week.